Hey everybody, how's it going? It is Tim Holmes here. You guys will remember that I am the author of Peanut Butter and Dragon. We've also got Splash, Fin, Toothy Grin, and of course, The Reno Buzz. And those guys, all those books were created at bedtime with my two boys where we made up stories. And we liked them so much we started to turn them into books. Well, I took that recipe of turning those bedtime stories and we created a workshop called Start a Story. And tonight's story is coming to you. This was a workshop that was done at Indigo at Pinecrest. It was the last one done before we all stayed home and stayed safe. And it was called Giant Tales, The Lost Home. And it's all about a worm and his family trying to stop a giant from constantly trampling their tunnels. And it was a wonderful tale put together by this group of children, these young authors. They've got their author photo on the back and they've got their art cover done with their limited edition stamp. Now, inside these books, as you've come to know at these story times, is the story, but the art pages are left blank. And the art pages are left blank because we want the children who get their limited edition book from the workshop, we want them to continue their creativity. We want them to add art to their book in whatever way they want. Now tonight, we're going to be telling this story. But first of all, I got to tell you guys one thing. We've had a little bit of a gap in time since we last saw each other. We didn't see each other for about a week. And that's because I was working on the last finishing touches of a big project we've been putting together. And guys, I'm here to tell you officially to your faces, I have gone Patreon. Patreon.com is a wonderful place for artists where you can go and support what we're doing by subscribing to a number of different disciplines, and you get a monthly subscription where you benefit. You get things from us, and it helps us continue to create and helps us continue to have more time to do the thing we are passionate about. And so what I'm going to ask you guys to do is go and check it out. Some great packages and benefits for you guys we will be able to create together monthly. And one of those benefits for one of the tiers is actually doing workshops that create stories like the one I'm going to read to you guys tonight. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, our story time for the evening. I hope you're all cozy and cuddly with somebody that you love very much and that you getting ready for bed and ready for your story, because here comes a crazy tale called Giant Tales, The Lost Home. And this story was written by Dania, Fandy, Inara, Jessica, Jasmine, Jolie, Madeline, Rylan, Tuka, and Tasimba. These guys did a great job working together, combining their ideas and putting it all together. Now, because there are no pictures in this story, I'm going to need you guys to use your big imaginations and picture all the characters and all the places they go. And so you guys will have these amazing, wonderful, colorful ideas in your brains as you go to sleep tonight. So here we go. Without further ado, Giant Tales, The Lost Home. On Monday morning, the worms woke up to thunderous rumbling and their worm tunnels shaking. The worm named Slip shouted, "Oh no, not again!" All the worms wiggled wildly from their tunnels up to the forest floor. Walla, 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 walla. Slip looked at their trampled tunnels. Slip looked at the giant walking away after destroying their home. Every Monday, that giant would crush their tunnels. And every Monday, they'd have to rebuild them. Enough was enough, thought Slip. So Slip asked the Worm Queen to call a meeting, and the entire worm family gathered to come up with ideas to stop the giant. Some great ideas were shared, and they voted on which one they thought would work best. Next Monday morning, the worms woke up to thunderous rumbling, and their worm tunnels were shaking. And the worm named Slip shouted, "Time to go, everyone!" All the worms wiggled wildly from their tunnels up to the forest floor. Walla, 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 walla. They spread their worm slime all over the hill of rocks that led up to their muddy tunnel home. Ooh, gross. The worms watched as the giant began to walk up the slimy rocks. And the worms watched as the giant was slipped, whoa, 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 and fell right onto their tunnels. Oh no. Then the giant picked himself up and he went on his way. Next Monday morning, the worms woke up to thunderous rumbling, and their worm tunnels were shaking. The worm named Slip shouted, "Time for Plan B, everyone!" And all the worms wiggled wildly from their tunnels up to the forest floor. Walla, 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 walla. And they swarmed all over the giant's feet and his calves, trying to keep him from moving forward. The giant didn't slow down, though. He was very strong. The giant was very ticklish, though. He giggled, and he shook the worms off his legs. Then the giant trampled their tunnels as he went on his way. Well, next Monday morning, the worms woke up to thunderous rumbling and their worm tunnels shaking. And the worm named Slip shouted, "Time for Plan number 3, everyone!" All the worms wiggled wildly from their tunnels up to the forest floor. Walla, 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 walla. And they gathered together and formed a huge worm guy to get the giant's attention. The giant approached them with a large smile. He high-fived them and gave them a giant hug. Brrr. "I didn't know there were other giants here. So good to meet you." The worms collapsed under the strength of his hug and fell to the forest floor. The giant opened his eyes and no longer saw the huge worm guy. "Oh me, oh my, I'm starting to see things now. I really do need to get home." Then the giant trampled their tunnels as he went on their way. Next Monday morning, the worms woke up to thunderous rumbling and their worm tunnels shaking. The worm named Slip shouted, "The wolves, they've agreed to help." And all the worms wiggled wildly from their tunnels up to the forest floor. Walla, 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 walla. There they met the wolves, who let the worms climb onto their backs for a ride. The wolves blocked the giant's path by gathering as a pack in front of him and howling. The giant, it stopped. "Oh me, oh my, what could be so important?" The giant leaned in for a closer look. And the wolves told him to look even closer. So he did. And the giant leaned in until the wolf fur tickled his nose. Now that the giant was close enough to hear him, Slip the worm spoke and explained how the giant had been trampling their worm tunnels. "Oh, hand on my royal heart, I had no idea I was trampling your tunnels. I am so very sorry," said the giant. "My name is Loop, king of the giants, and I'm here quite by mistake." Loop explained that he'd accidentally fallen through a portal and ended up in this world. His portal compass had been damaged in the trip, and the crystals he required to rebuild it had been scattered across the whole forest. "I'm only missing the turquoise crystal, and then I can go home." Well, Slip and the Worm Queen, they looked at each other when Loop mentioned the turquoise crystal. Many weeks ago, some worms had discovered a crystal in the forest and brought it back to the queen, who fell in love with it immediately. "Wait here, please," said Slip. Slip wiggled down to the queen's throne room with 10 other worms to fetch the crystal. Loop, king of the giants, let out a tremendous bellow of happiness. Ho, 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 ho! When he saw the worms return to the surface with the turquoise crystal. "Oh me, oh my, that's it! My compass can guide me home now!" The worms watched as Loop slid the crystal, click, click, into an empty slot on the compass, bringing the compass to life with a rainbow of colors. "Follow me!" cried Loop as he excitedly strode off, staring at his compass, which seemed to be guiding him somewhere. On the backs of the wolves, the worms followed Loop into a dark part of the forest. The compass began to make a humming noise, and a portal opened up in front of Loop. "Will you come with me?" he asked the worms and the wolves. "My family will want to meet the ones who helped me find my way home." The worms and the wolves agreed. When they arrived, they were greeted by surprised and happy giants. That evening, they feasted as Loop, king of the giants, told the story of how he managed to return with the help of the worms and the wolves. He made them sound like heroes. Now then, Loop's family presented him with a ticket to travel around the whole world so that he might meet and greet all of his subjects and let them know he had returned safely. Everywhere Loop, king of the giants, went, he told the story of the brave worms and the helpful wolves that saved a king. It was a truly giant tale. That, ladies and gentlemen, was written at Pinecrest Indigo just before we had to stay home and stay safe. We've got these lovely children, these young authors on the back, their author photo, because they were the ones that worked together, combined their ideas, and created this wonderful tale. And these guys aren't alone. We've managed to do over 70 workshops over the last couple of years, and more than 20 of them have created these limited edition books where the children get to keep a souvenir copy of the book of the story that they created. I want to find alternate ways to have all of us create together. And so one of the ways that I spoke about at the beginning, and I'll mention again right now, I'd love to have you guys check out, I have just joined Patreon. You can check out the link at timholmes.com. And guys, check it out. There's so many ways that monthly benefits that you guys can join in many different ways, depending on how much writing and how much creation you want to do each month. I'd love to see you guys there and join my team of young authors as we create new stories monthly. I'd love to see you on Patreon. Guys, if you love what's happening here at Storytime, if you like what I'm doing on Facebook Live, if you like the workshops that I've done, if you need me to come for a school visit, if you'd like to check out more details about the tiers and the subscription to Patreon, guys, timholmes.com, right there, bleep, 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 that's the place to go. There's even some free activity guides you can download to start your process of creating a story right now. Guys, thank you so much for joining along on this adventure. I hope to see you and hope to be a part of the creation team with you. My name is Tim Holmes. Guys, take care of your families and take care of yourselves, and always have fun creating.